According to the U.S. Census Bureau, just 13% of the country's population identifies as Black, but recent data shows fewer than 6% are working as doctors.
The American Medical Association believes efforts to recruit more Black doctors received a blow in June of 2023 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against affirmative action, which prohibits medical schools from considering race among many factors in admission. The ruling, the president of the American Medical Association said, will, quote, reverse gains made in the battle against health inequities.
We examine the impact of a lack of Black doctors in America and those advocating for diversity in the healthcare system. Dr. Kevin Carson is a man of first in Georgia.
I am the first African-American interventional radiologist.
But growing up in the 1960s, Dr. Carson says he didn't have many role models in the medical field who looked like him.
A friend of mine sent me a scholarship for in underserved communities. And the interesting thing was that 0 African-American men applied for it.
Studies show not much has changed since Dr. Carson attended medical school. A 2022 study by the Association of American Medical Colleges found that 5.7% of doctors identified as Black or African American. Citing the association's 2019 report, Atlanta's Morehouse School of Medicine says only 7.4% of students who entered medical schools across the country in 2019 were Black or African American.
In the 2020s, to be a first is very sobering.
At Washington University Medical School in St. Louis, Dr. Dineo Cabelli is the first Black department head. Dr. Cabelli says there are disparities in healthcare impacting people of color. It's something she experienced firsthand while in labor.
I was in excruciating pain and it was ignored.
She's using her experiences as a Black woman to teach future doctors how to care for everyone, regardless of race.
You don't have to be a Black person to deliver this type of care. You just have to understand, what does it feel like to feel isolated or to feel in pain or to feel like nobody believes what you're going through?
And U.S. lawmakers are taking notice, too. Illinois Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, who is also a registered nurse, along with North Carolina Congresswoman Alma Adams and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, introduced the Momnibus Act of 2023, which includes more than a dozen bills that invest in housing, transportation, nutrition, and other social factors in maternal health. Representative Underwood believes it's important to have more healthcare providers who have similar backgrounds.
As a registered nurse, we know how important it is to have clinical providers that understand the experiences of the patients and communities that they serve, and also sometimes have the lived experiences of those communities.
Public health researcher Dr. Faith Fletcher echoes Representative Underwood. Dr. Fletcher says finding those individuals who have lived and experienced the same things as their patients involves, among other things, transforming the medical education system.
So the approach to this work is really to ensure that all healthcare providers, all medical students receive a medical education that embeds health equity, that teaches them how to be structurally competent.
Dr. Fletcher also believes there are ways of mentoring up with this generation of medical students to improve health equity.
Their experiences and awareness of social issues and police brutality and healthcare mistreatment has really helped, I would say, to enhance our intellectual medical community with the tools and raising things and challenging the current systems to really improve and transform.
Back in Georgia, Dr. Carson's prescription for diversifying medicine starts at home.
A big part of this is putting it in front of our kids and saying, hey, this is something you can do. This is something you can do to support your money, your community. This is something you can do to support your family.
4 HBCUs have been producing half of the Black doctors in the country since 2019. Howard University College of Medicine in Washington, D.C., Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, and Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science in Los Angeles. Next year, Morgan State University in Baltimore is set to open its School of Osteopathic Medicine. It will be the first medical school affiliated with an HBCU to open in nearly 50 years.
Taking an in-depth look at affirmative action, schools started race-conscious admissions in the 1960s to accept more students from backgrounds that had previously been excluded. The High Court's decision against affirmative action policies at Harvard University and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has prompted graduate programs to seek alternative legal recruitment tactics. Reporter Peter Zampa dives into the issue with university students on both sides of the High Court's decision.
I was, of course, very outraged by the decision.
I was kind of relieved to see how it's changed.
I was concerned about the impact of the ruling.
We listened to a handful of students from different universities, some arguing qualified students with less opportunity will have to fight twice as hard for half as much. Others think the court's move was overdue. We start with Stefano Raffo from the University of Maryland.
Now, the Supreme Court seemed to allow the inclusion of race when it comes to telling your life story in an essay. Is that sufficient for you?
It is self-contradictory, because if you're allowing somebody to tell their story through race, why aren't you allowing them to be viewed through race?
Now, supporters of this opinion will say the court is leveling the playing field. What is your response to that?
Schools and universities are underfunded. Minorities are given less opportunities in leadership and clubs and in life. The starting point is not the same. You can't say, oh, this is just a race and you have to go the fastest when people don't start from the same point.
Raheem Williams is a graduate student at the University of Pennsylvania. He agrees we can't rewrite our nation's history, but says affirmative action won't level the playing field.
Jim Crow happened, slavery happened, redlining happened. However, we need to make sure that we are investing in these communities and those students. Most black kids, just like most white kids, were never going to Harvard, and that's okay. And I think that infrastructure for social mobility is still intact because elite institutions were never top institutions when ranked by social mobility. I also think there's a little bit of a disingenuous nature to what we're hearing from our elite institutions.
So do you think affirmative action was a racist policy?
I absolutely know it to be.
Tara Davuti is proud of her South Asian descent. She co-wrote an op-ed in the newspaper The Baltimore Sun. She argues the Supreme Court made a mistake.
If affirmative action remains sidelined for the foreseeable future, what might a campus like this one look like in the future?
I came to the University of Maryland knowing that it was a really diverse campus. And so that decision really scared me because it has the potential to decrease that percentage. And especially at very elite institutions, it has the potential to decrease those already small percentages even further. And these elite institutions are sending their graduates into the top levels of their respective fields.
Johnny Sonny is a junior at American University.
Diversity is absolutely crucial to defining the college campus and experience. But there's a difference between promoting diversity and having people check boxes to define, who they are as a person or a race. So I think getting rid of legacy admissions to start with would be a really meaningful way to help diversify.
Tyler Brown-Dweese, another junior at American, says moving forward, schools will need to be more intentional about maintaining a multicultural student body.
All universities as a whole should go out to majority-minority schools, and you look for them because they're there. You just have to look.
These students don't speak for their schools. They're sharing their own views. But we should all listen, because these potential leaders of tomorrow could shape policy, like affirmative action, in the future. In Washington, D.C., I'm Peter Zampa.
While colleges must remain race neutral when making admission decisions, students can talk about how race has affected their life in either a personal statement or essay. For example, Sarah Lawrence College asked prospective students, quote, describe how you believe your goals for a college education might be impacted, influenced, or affected by the court's decision.